Hey everyone, it's Steve Anstey from Vinny Ten Racing, Lindenhurst, New York. We're here with KONIG wheels. We're going to do a walk around on my 2011 STI, which is a SCCA street modified autocross car. And yeah, let's get started by walking around it. All right, so I got this car brand new, 2011. I basically started racing it immediately. 400 miles on it before to the first event, and I was already racing before then. I started racing in 2007 when I was in the military. I was in the Air Force actually, and been hooked ever since. And it's been street mod basically its entire life. All right, so this is where the magic happens. Everyone loves to see. Here we have it's a Vinny Ten Racing built engine. We had closed deck the case halves, which you Subaru guys know exactly what I'm talking about. We got a Killer B turbo setup, turbo kit with a Garrett turbo. We have ETS top mount intercooler. We got a GFB blow off valve. I got my own VTR custom fuel system. Which we're running IAG rails, IAG TGV deletes, it's a race car, so we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. All right, so where the intake we got here is we got the Perrin turbo inlet, which is 3-inch. We have an agency power intake for that. Still stock intake manifold. We got a Ron Davis race radiator, because when you're only running point A to point B, everything gets hot really quickly. There's not enough air, so you gotta have the best coolant for it. We got a Killer B thermostat housing with some small fans. We make just about 450 horsepower, 450 foot-pounds of torque, and it spools just as fast as stock. So it's a rocket ship, as I'm sure you'll see. I have a custom oil cooler as well, with a Cetrab oil cooler with a fluid damper crank pulley. So as far as engine's concerned, we're done with it. We don't need to do anything else. I'm happy with it. It makes the power, the torque, everything we ever wanted to do. So it allows me to just worry about tuning the suspension and tuning my drive, and that's what it really matters, is seat time and more seat time. And just in case you forgot, it's more seat time. The car it's competitive in at least horsepower and torque wise compared to my fellow competitors. We're all running around the same kind of horsepower, some a little more, some a little less. But in autocross, it doesn't necessarily come down to power. It comes down to if you can use that power efficiently in a short period of time that you're actually driving. So just because you have more doesn't mean you're faster. So we wanted the Marsh Composites carbon fiber hood. Why? Because it's dry carbon, it's the lightest, it's got vents, it's got, cooling is the main thing. I went with Zebulon. They make some high-end Motorsports aero, so I went with Zebulon for the front splitter. I also got a bunch of stuff that comes from my good friend Luke over at Full Spectrum. He actually came down to the shop, handmade the canards. Also, I have his CNC billet uprights, which allowed me to drop it a whole inch and correct my bump steer and all that kind of stuff. I also use Feal suspension, which Mike and Odie over there, awesome guys. They redid my whole suspension this year, all mathematics, they're scientists. I worry about the engine and tuning it and turbos and driving the car. I'll let them worry about my handling. The other stuff we went with, we got a lot of Killer B stuff. Got a Killer B header, Killer B turbo kit. I have ETS, catback exhaust. I have ETS top mount intercooler. Southbay fuel injectors, they fuel everything. I run their 1200cc injectors in this, along with Radium and their fuel pump hanger for the World War 450. iWire, they wired it all. I got their hardwire kit for the fuel pump. I have their battery relocation kit. Anything we ever need for wiring wise, I talk to them. I'm not a wiring guy. We went with a Ciro design wing in the back, because the guy he's a magician when it comes to that kind of stuff, and it seems to be working really well, at least for me. I mean, I'm probably not even driving close to the limit of it yet. All right, we got some brand new KONIG Heliograms 18x12s. That means I can run a 315, and yes, we run this all around, not just in the rear like your rear-wheel drive guys. We got all-wheel drive, we need it everywhere. They are absolutely fantastic. The gray, I believe it's a titanium metallic, is what they said they call it. And it matches the car perfectly, I think, and I'm absolutely in love with it. And if you're not, well, there's something wrong with you. But these tires we're currently on are Yokohama AO52s, like I said, 315s. I also use a Hoosier A7, which is also the same size as a 315. Gives me the most traction I possibly can get, and hopefully try not to break stuff. So previously I used to run a multitude of different wheels. I used to run 9.5, an 18 by 9.5. I outgrew that pretty quickly, then I upgraded to an 18 by 10.5, and that lasted for about 2 years. And the reason why I went with the 12s now is because I need to run a 315. And in order to be fast and keep up with these guys and get to the top where I want to be, where I'm going to be, I had to go with the best, and the best is the KONIG with an 18 by 12. So I could run the big tire and get all the traction. Back here we got the iWire battery relocation kit. And the reason why we need to bring the battery back here is because I gotta take all that weight off the front and move it to where I'm not. So it's on the opposite side of where the driver is, to kind of ballast the car out and even it out so I can get that 50-50 corner balance that everyone wants and loves, and we were able to achieve it by doing that. So I believe I didn't mention all the SPL stuff. SPL, American company, which is great. They have all their arms and everything you could possibly have in the back. I also went with some Girodisc brakes, front and rear, with upgraded 19 plus STI brakes, because stopping is just as fast as going fast. It's very, very, very important. And yeah, great, we got Carbotech AX6 pads too, because in an autocross world, you're not out there doing laps. You're just going from point A to point B and that's it. So in order for you to be able to get maximum braking right away, you need to have that kind of braking power right off the bat instantly without warming it up. I'll show you a little bit of the interior. We know we talked about it a little bit, but I'll get in here and show you what an SM car looks like on the inside. All right, so an SM car, like I said, you can't fully gut it, so obviously we still have the factory plastics, but I can take the radio out, which I did. I don't need a radio when you hear the exhaust. It's always the best. Sorry, Teslas. So I've run the access port so I can see some data and everything like that. I got a few gauges, got the Sparco steering wheel that brings it a little closer. It's smaller, quicker ratio. But yeah, I mean most of it looks stock, and that's the beauty of an autocross street mod car. The back looks like a race car. The front feels like you can still go to the grocery store with it, which I wouldn't recommend. All right, so we also run a Cobb short shifter, which is adjustable, which is nice because I was able to make it short, but I was able to make it high, so it's faster shifting, closer to the steering wheel. I run Sparco 4-point harnesses, and I have a Corbeau RRB seats, which is great because they still recline, but they sit you like a regular fixed back seat, which is what you want for a car like this. All right, guys. Again, this is Steve from Vinny Ten Racing in Lindenhurst, New York. I want to thank KONIG for coming out and doing a walk around in my 2011 STI street modified SCCA Autocross Build. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out there a little bit later this month and testing out these brand new wheels and put a hurting on the competition. So thanks again, guys. Yeah.
You have built so many cars, probably.
Yeah, it's similar but different. Like my alignment specs are, if I told a road racer my alignment specs are, they'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like,
well, what are your alignment specs?
Yeah,
just for curiosity's
yes,
sake? Can you
aggressive.
Okay.
Aggressive.
Okay.